Let's do some trader talk now with Michele Schneider, the Director of Trading and Education at the MarketGauge Group. Always happy to have you on the show, Mish. I want to start with that one-day move on Monday in the VIX. The VIX shot up above 30. That's a major move, and it's telling us that there's some angst or concerns building in this stock market. What's your take?
Well, the VIX fits into the what I thought was the most bizarre aspect of the market coming into this year, which was the complacency and people thinking that everything was great in the world, and that's that. As you know, since we talked so much about it, we saw that things may not be so great coming into this year as we got going because the Fed could lose control and the governments keep having to throw money at economies. And that's exactly what we saw last week. So it was a wake-up call. Volatility finally said, wait a minute, don't be so complacent. Things could be more rotten under the surface.
Today, we are going to hear more about inflation with a CPI number coming out. There are calls for the Fed to stop raising rates. Yes, inflation is starting to come down, but banks are getting hit hard, including Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank collapsing.
Well, the expectation is for 6% on the CPI, which would be a drop, which would probably be a good thing considering what happened last week with the banks and the pressure on the Fed not to be so aggressive because, again, structural cracks can happen when you raise too fast. But on the flip side, if it comes out at 6.5%, then that will again force the Fed to make a big decision. And of course, we'll see exactly what we've seen coming into this week besides volatility going up. Gold rallied like crazy and the yields have softened. So it'll just be more evidence about the Fed really, in what I've feared all along, being more reactive than proactive. And here we go. We'll see.
Mish, where are you putting your money? What's your trade of the day?
Well, I have quite a few, actually, because there is always opportunity, right? So I've talked enough about gold and silver and we're not industrial metals. We're not going to even cover that. So I started looking outside of the U.S. for obvious reasons. And there was a couple of things that really stood out to me outside the U.S. One is a Chinese stock, Tencent Music, because streaming is huge. And that's a huge streaming network in China. And it actually sold off, obviously, but held technically at a good point. So right now it's up on the day. It actually opened up on the day, even when the market was down. So I think if it can hold here and get back through 850, hold 9 through that level, we can see that go up. And another one is Vietnam, the ETF Vietnam, because I think with all the issues with China, we actually might be depending on Vietnam more for some of our manufacturing, particularly in the clothing industry. Made in Vietnam, start looking for those labels. Vietnam through 1185, very enticing.
Some international trading today. Thank you so much, Mish.
Thank you so much, Angela.
Go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.